Today has been absolutely challenging. This is now the fourth time that I've actually tried to record something. And I'm a bit frustrated, a little beat down right now, but it's fine.
And I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing.
Yeah, Lydia's been in like pretty much all of the other attempts, but if we don't have a technical issue, we have a copyright issue, which apparently that was my fault. I didn't. It When stuff is put on YouTube, you never know if it's actually copyrighted or not until after the fact. So, yeah, so here we are, and now I am reacting to the Ghost Club Paranormal investigation. It is basically, uh, I think I'm going to say this right, but if I'm not, you guys can make sure that I'm saying it right. But it is the Corinville House. They've done this investigation a couple of years ago. I was going to actually do this one last time, but chose for a different one just because, it's not to say that this I wasn't able to react to it. Actually, it's quite the opposite. But, anyways, before I, talk too much to you guys, I'm just going to roll the beautiful bean footage and hopefully, we'll have a pretty good time doing it. Happy Halloween for those that celebrate Halloween. Yeah, so here we go. Try this again, shall we?
When I first moved here, I thought it was really pretty and like nature, and I love wildlife, and I didn't know anything about the history before moving here, and I didn't even know about Corriganville. I didn't know what Corriganville was. I'd never heard of it.
Sorry.
Corriganville Park. These trails are charged with spiritual energy from throughout history. Locals report hearing Native American chanting echoing through the mountains, unexplained orbs, and even doppelgangers. Security guards have witnessed groups of people dressed in black robes entering the park at night, and this may explain some of the ritualistic symbols and altars that are found throughout the park today. Hundreds of mysterious murders and suicides have led locals to believe there's a darker force that could be luring people into the park. Despite this being sacred land blessed by indigenous people, this land has been a spot for cult rituals and satanic worshipping. There's a spiritual warfare going on, and one resident who lives on the land feels the direct effects of the multiple spirits on her property, and she reached out to us for help.
I was scared to.
Okay, so one thing that I'm going to say real quick is it's a good thing that you want to try to help people as paranormal investigators, but there is definitely a heavier weight for those that don't take the time to do this right. And I'm not necessarily implying that they're doing anything wrong here, at least yet anyway. But, I commend people that want to try to help, but you have to understand, like, they're already terrified. I'm about to turn that stupid thing off today. This thing, every single time I say a certain word, apparently our tablet's going off. But, anyways.
I'm good. How about you?
To death. I thought, well, what the hell was going on? I thought, does this mean that I'm gonna die? I thought, I didn't know.
But look,
There's no reason.
Still here?
Yeah, we're still here, and so are you.
Leave.
This is like a weird, I don't know if you want to call it omen.
If I could leave this place, I would. But I feel that there's something that needs to be put to rest here.
It's recording. I didn't even press record. It's recording.
What?
It's
Corriganville Park. Don't go there at night. It's not, people say, oh, well, spirits can't kill you. Oh, you don't know that for sure. You really don't know that for sure.
So I'm in my car, all packed up and ready to meet Jim for tonight's investigation. We are heading to Corriganville Park, which may look familiar because we were there a couple of months ago filming for the Manson Tunnel murder episode. If you saw that episode, then you know that the activity that we got there was absolutely off the charts. And honestly, I feel like we left with more questions than we did when we actually went into the investigation. This place is no joke. So many people reached out about their own paranormal experiences around that area, but one viewer in particular reached out to us really needing our help, as she actually lives in one of the maybe 5 houses on the property, and she had some very strange stories to tell us. So last week, me and Jim were actually on an investigation like 3 hours away up on top of a mountain somewhere, and when she reached out to us, we literally dropped everything to jump on this opportunity, and we headed to her home immediately. Now, the footage that you're about to see took place over the course of maybe an hour, but there was enough evidence for us to decide that we wanted to come back and do a real thorough investigation. So we're going back tonight with a psychic medium who doesn't know anything about where we're taking them tonight. So we're gonna go and investigate, and we're gonna get some answers to what is behind the
Yeah, because it's always smart to have a paranormal investigation team that has a psychic medium. Look, if you don't believe me now, at least believe me at some point, that all these people do is basically just make everything up as they go. It's pretty evident when you start watching this and when they start going in to investigate. And there's a lot of things that they do, I'll be honest, that just, it kind of irks me, but let's get back to this because we're trying to watch the whole thing, hopefully. So
hauntings on this property. I've said this once and I'll say it again. All good investigations start like this. The investigations where we think we're gonna go to an area and just whatever it is, the universe takes us on a completely different path. We're here for it, and just from my experience, I've learned to just go with it. Don't fight against it, because there's a reason why we're here right.
What on earth do you mean? That was a whole lot of gloop, if you ask me. Okay, sure.
Now.
She was talking about this tree here. She say it's like.
By the way, guys, I used to do mutton chops for a very, very long time. I did them in total of about 7 to 8 years. This is the worst example I have ever seen of any type of mutton chop. Just to point that out there. Not everybody should do it. Only the ones that can actually pull it off. And sorry, guy, you can't pull it off.
Did you say 700 years old?
Oh yeah, you can tell that it's definitely an older tree. That's for sure. It's huge.
I don't want to go back to that tree with the markings on it to start off there.
The trees in back, the one with the X on it, everybody, the neighbors all called it the hanging tree. I mean, literally, you could see rope marks. Come to find out from my neighbors, yes, it literally was a hanging tree. Because when they would come through here on the Wells Fargo Pony Express, the banditos, as they called them, then they would wait behind rocks or what have you, and they would rape and murder the women, the kids. So it really, truly was a hanging tree. You sometimes feel like somebody's watching you. It's hard to describe. It's hard to describe. There's been times where it's been really uncomfortable.
You can't see too well right now because it is dark, but this place is like a little village. It's really, really cool. They've worked really hard back here. If you just come down this way, this is the hanging tree. So you can see this marking. It's like the X on the tree here. And nobody knows what this is from. It's not painted on. It's not burnt on. It almost looks like it's just like pigments or something like that, which is what Native Americans would use for cave paintings and things like that. So
Yeah, that paste was normally made out of charcoal, which is exactly what that looks like. It looks like some form of a charcoal paste, I guess, but I'm not sure as to why they're trying to point out this symbol without any context. I mean, I get it. It's there. They call it the hanging tree, but That's just not really enough for me to definitively say that particular symbol means something, because I don't know on this one.
Oh, this is a huge piece of history right here. I kind of want to touch it. Wow. I don't know why, but I feel like the energy, like the second I brought the REM pod out, the energy kind of shifted.
What does that mean? What's your context on energy shifting? Exactly. You know, I've been asking this for a while now, what paranormal investigators mean, and people that do these types of YouTube channels, what does it mean? And nobody seemed to answer me yet. Oh, I'm waiting actually still for somebody to answer me as to what their definition of energy means, because I think you and I would not probably agree whatsoever as to what my understanding is and what your understanding is, just to point that out.
I don't know if you're feeling that, but
Of course, they have to play a replay like 4 times
Did you
so
hear
can
that?
get the point.
sounded like something fell over. My REM pod
Well,
didn't
I
turn
don't know,
on.
what do you expect?
Do you need a battery?
No, this is a fresh battery.
Is it though?
Which is kind of weird because remember like when you gave her the walkie and the walkie wasn't working? Like
Yeah.
randomly, the first time you gave her it, and we were playing about with it for like a couple minutes, and then it just started working.
Yeah.
This is actually a different brand as well, so I've never had any problems with this never working.
I think I got one more battery in my,
No, it's not the battery. I just put in 2 brand new batteries. It's not the battery.
Okay, this is not paranormal, guys. So, for instance, if you take your equipment, your battery operated equipment specifically, which 9 times out of 10, almost all of your tools that you're going to use for paranormal investigation are battery operated. I don't know of any that are actually corded. Now, in saying that, if you go from extreme different environments or extreme altitude changes, so for instance, if you're going from a valley up to the top of a mountain, well, that can actually affect your batteries. If you go from hot to cold or cold to hot, that can affect your batteries. Again, not paranormal, but they're going to try to sell you that now, aren't they? Sure they are, because that's just what they do. So
you
we
get
play
the feeling
that
you're being
one.
watched. I get that feeling.
I feel weird.
Let's go back to the front. Second.
Okay, yeah. Wait. I'm just curious, was that always like that? I just filmed that tree. That bark wasn't like that?
No.
Okay, come on, let's...
An old tree is going to have bark
I think
that come off.
someone's fucking with us.
You think someone's fucking with us?
I do. I just get that feeling. That was too loud right there for that just to randomly have happened. You know? I really
Why
feel
could
it.
it not? You're talking about a dead
Maybe
tree,
not.
guys.
Listen, I would say if this was anybody else, maybe. But I really don't think that we're getting fucked with or anything like that, because we know this area. We know how weird this area is.
You know the area. Just because you've been there a couple of times doesn't mean you know the area. Look, I know the area that I live in, but that doesn't mean that I know every single nook and cranny of where I live. That's just a really not very intelligent response, in my opinion, because just because you've been there a couple of times and filmed at a couple locations doesn't mean that you are the leading expert in that area. So with that being said, I digress. We continue.
We've experienced it ourselves. Weird shit happens here all the fucking time. And also, the REM pod not working, the walkie's not working. We've not even started our investigation. Yes, there were a couple of really loud noises, but
The second I brought my REM pod out, I started feeling extremely uneasy. I don't know what's there, but it knows why we're there and it doesn't want us there. That's what I think.
Or are you just making that up as you go?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
One of the strangest things that happened to me here was I wasn't home. I came home that evening about midnight, and when I came home, my son came in the kitchen and he said, "Did you just get home?" I said, "Yes, I just got home." He goes, "Just now? You just got home?" I said, "Yeah, I got home just now." He says, I said, "Why?" And at first he didn't want to tell me. And then finally he did. And he said, "Because I was in my room and I heard something in the kitchen, so I came out to the kitchen and I saw you at the refrigerator door looking in the refrigerator door open. And I said hi, and you just kind of went, and didn't really say anything, so I figured maybe you were upset, so I went back in my room." He says, "But it couldn't have been you because you just got home." He said, "But I know it was you." When he told me that, I was scared to death.
All right, here's my first question with that. One, how old was this child? Was he a teenager? Is he an adult? Is he a kid? Clearly you're not going to be leaving a small child in the house by themselves. So we're talking about either a teenager or a young adult. And I don't need to tell you that if you get out of bed, you can be slightly disoriented. And so, without any actual evidence to say that, I'm a bit suspicious about that statement.
Thought, well, what the hell was going on? I thought, does this mean that I'm gonna die? I thought, I didn't know. And I still don't have any idea how that could happen. I mean, because he clearly saw me. If I could leave this place, I would. But I feel that there's something that needs to be put to rest here, or something evil that needs to be gone, that needs to go away. If there's something, an attachment or something, I don't want anything to be attached to me and me take something that's not good, evil, demonic, anything that's not good. I don't want to take anything with me anywhere.
Okay, did she not just say that she isn't going to go anywhere because she can't? Yet now she's talking about, leaving. So, which is it? Are you staying or are you going? Look, I'm just saying this for consistency. Because when you're trying to recount a story or an event, details are necessary, especially for the investigators to do their investigation right. This lady just simply isn't either giving us all of the defining details, or she's just going by what she recollects in that moment. But either way, like I don't feel like she's being entirely truthful here, just based off of how she's talking about it.
I mean, for good.
Just reviewing the footage of when we first came in here, that bark was on that tree, and what was the first thing that she done when she brought us in here? She was like, "Look at this tree." I was like, "That's a gorgeous tree." We were talking about the tree. I don't know if that's what that noise was. Imagine if we were standing under there. This is like a weird, I don't know if you want to call it omen or whatever.
No, I don't want to call it anything other than the fact that there's high winds. It's a dead tree that happens to have bark on it, and the bark came loose and fell to the ground. Guys, if you go out to the woods, okay, you can see how much this actually happens. This isn't paranormal whatsoever.
And I know you guys are probably thinking it's just a tree.
Yeah, I am.
But this is weird. This is weird to me. The timing of this, and that we were just talking about this, I don't like it at all.
Go for Alicia. We're just on the side of the house here at the big tree. If you want to step out for just 2 seconds.
What, that happened just now?
Yeah. Nobody else is outside or anything?
No.
Okay.
I can't believe I
It's
didn't
like a
hear that.
warning sign. That's how I feel like that's a warning sign.
Or it's just bark that came off the tree.
If there's anything here with us right now, if you were the one that knocked the bark off of the tree like that, was that a warning sign? Can you make that device light up for us? Can you go to the antenna? Can you touch that for us? Did you want us to leave? Why is it making that high pitched noise?
I don't know.
Can you make that stop? Can you hear it? It's like it's going up and down. Listen to that. What? Look, there is. And there's no wind.
Can you cut it off, please?
Good job. Are you a child spirit?
This doesn't
Can you
make me
light that
believe
up
in
if you're a
it anymore.
child?
Guys, let me explain how these work real quick again. If you guys haven't checked it out, some of our other videos related to this. So, again, anything that can generate a frequency can put that off. So, for instance, even though that the bark has already fell off the tree, an object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. So, when you're looking at that from a frequency standpoint, there could be a residual frequency actually coming from that bark. So, again, that's just a plausible scientific way to look at it, but I'm still not convinced that anything that they're doing at this point is paranormal.
When Jeffrey and I were sitting in the living room watching TV, I looked to the front door. I could see a little boy and a little girl standing there. They were standing outside of the door, but with the beveled windows, you wouldn't be able to see clear figures of them, but I could see them clearly. And they looked like Little House on the Prairie. The little girl had dark hair and with 2 braids, one on either side, and the little boy had sandy blonde hair with the crop cut hair and bangs, and they were just standing there and just really sad. And it's something, I don't know why, but I thought fire. Maybe if they died in a fire, I don't know. And then come to find out later on, I wasn't the only one that saw or heard or experienced strange things. Also, in the house, Jeffrey and I, things would fall around us all the time. I mean, it was like became a regular occurrence where it was like no big deal. Things that there's no way they could fall off of a shelf or something like that. I didn't want to be afraid, and I wasn't going to let myself be afraid, so I just would ignore it. I've never talked about this stuff like that because it's not comfortable talking about, negative dark energies. It's almost like I feel if I talk about the negative dark energies about around here, it may bring them out.
I just want to go over to the front door where you saw the apparitions of the boy and the girl. Were they outside or inside?
Outside.
Outside, okay.
But they were right outside the door, but I could see full figures.
Okay, if there's any children here that want to talk to Alicia, can you go ahead? Can you touch that REM pod? You can take energy from our batteries, you can take energy from our other devices.
Okay. Again, when you ask something that you believe is a spirit to manipulate something or to do something to you or to do something within the place that you're at, you do have zero right to be freaked out if something happens, because you have now at this point invited it to do whatever it so pleases. So if you start freaking out, well, I'm sorry, I have to throw out any accreditation at that point that you may have, because you called it out to begin with. So why are you shocked when it happens? Just, think about that. Think about that, and make your own judgment call. If you don't believe me there, that's fine. But again, she literally just invited it. So if something happens, and keep in mind, okay, these 2 devices. Let me go back to this. This first device that you're seeing here, this device here, okay, that is they're both EMF readers, but they're essentially going to feed off of each other. So this one has a frequency that it emits, but also receives, and this actually emits a frequency. So you see how this could be a real problem? This could be a real problem, guys, having these 2 devices this close together. As I've said in almost every single video that I have made as far as reactions are concerned, you cannot have these devices this close together. If you want actual results, which you're not going to actually prove anything other than there's an electromagnetic frequency, But if you want actual results that people aren't going to rip apart, don't put devices this close together. It's just simply nonsense.
It's a brand new battery. It's just drained
What?
completely. I just put a brand new battery in.
Is
Okay,
that-
just
Put a brand new
tested.
battery in, it doesn't mean it's
These are
full
all
charge.
fresh batteries. That's the third battery that's been drained.
This is kind of crazy to me. This is probably the most drainage that I've ever had on an investigation coming from batteries and technical equipment. I think we have to come back and really get a fresh start at this.
I think so too. I mean, I would really, truly appreciate it if you did.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
truly.
make a game plan. Like, honestly, I need to make like a game plan for this. Jim is struggling right now. How many batteries have you tried so far?
4 now.
Wow. Okay.
And that's not cool for it to stress you out, because that means you're feeling it, right?
I mean, I feel like I've been off.
What?
I
What?
just cut it on and it's recording. I didn't even press record. It's
What?
record. I did. All I did was just cut it on because the battery was drained. And what is it? It's recording.
Again, that's not paranormal. That's just your device malfunctioning. And as expensive as that camera is, I would be highly concerned if it continues to do that. But it's still not paranormal. Just because it does that, you know, I don't know their equipment that well. I know my equipment, and I can honestly say, like, you know, it can happen from time to time. But again, you're relying upon technology in a way that, you know, you're trying to say that this is how you're getting approved. But I mean, anything can break, whether it's manipulated by man or something else. And I don't know. I don't find this paranormal that it just starts supposedly recording by itself. So he could have bumped it, you know, when he set it down or something like that. I mean, how do we know, you know? But yeah, I don't think it's paranormal.
It's been recording for a minute. I just put a
What?
battery in.
How? Wait. Okay. How's it been recording for a minute? Because you literally just put a battery
I
in.
just did.
And you didn't even press record.
No, I just put a battery in. I have to press record for it to start.
Sure.
So maybe something wants you to record now.
Just feel completely
Or
off. 100%.
it's just a malfunction.
My
of
camera just turned off by itself. Are you filming? Look, I wasn't even. This is how my hand exactly was. This is how my hand was, and you need to touch this button for it to stop working.
Yeah.
And it literally just turned off. So my camera just turned off by itself. Jim's camera turned on by itself.
Not
Mine's
paranormal.
turned off by itself. I think whatever's here is intelligent. I think we've gathered a
That doesn't mean anything. Look, what she just said is complete nonsense. You're trying to say that, you know, any of your devices, including your cameras, don't malfunction, but yet they just did. Every single device that you've used at this point has malfunction. Are you taking consideration that you're up in the mountains? Are you? Because that can actually cause that to happen. As I said, altitude changes, temperature changes, all of this stuff affects electronic equipment. Again, I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced. I mean, this is nonsense if they're trying to say that this is an entity, because why? Why would you think that? Because you just don't know your equipment well enough in altitude changes and temperature changes to realize that that's actually the possibility here? Come on, guys. Come on.
enough evidence that there is something here. I think we need to go back, research, have a game plan, come back. We really, really need to have a game plan for this place.
Yeah, to be able to attack it from all angles.
100%.
Whether it's children or natives or adults or whatever came up behind, you know.
Oy vey.
From what I understand, I'm finding out more and more there has been many suicides in Corriganville. Many suicides. And that's not, I mean, that's not normal. That's not normal in one place.
In comparison to what? What are you comparing that statistic to? I mean, again, what are you comparing it to? I just, what does that have to do with this? Okay, so there's been suicides in the area. Yeah, every single place that I've ever lived has had at least one suicide, if not multiple a year. What's your point here? I don't understand. You know, maybe, just maybe, You guys, as paranormal researchers and investigators, should actually do your stinking jobs for once, and actually give some actual context to these claims that she's making. See, I don't know. That might be too hard, though.
For there to be multiple suicides. I do know of a suicide that it was so unlike this person to commit suicide, and it happened in Corriganville. I don't know if I should talk about it.
Okay, that's fine.
It's a really bad feeling that.
Again, there is so many issues, okay, with people that have depression. Now, I have never been clinically diagnosed with depression, but I do suffer from it from time to time, as you can probably imagine. And I have been diagnosed with anxiety in the past. Now, people don't fully understand what it's like sometimes to really understand depression, but depression plays a huge factor in the way that people perceive their situation. So, she's not talking about the circumstance of this person, but one can assume that they probably had depression, and it's always the people that you least expect that do these things. So and that's where I'm coming from, is that without details, without statistics, she's basically just sitting there talking about where she lives with no context, and they're not going to give you any context. Even the paranormal investigators aren't going to give you context. The psychic medium sure as heck ain't going to give you any evidence to actually believe him. He's just wants you to take him at his word, which doesn't really go that far for me. So let's get back to this.
A feeling that there's been that much death, that much negative death. I mean, it's not like they're natural deaths. They're either suicide or murders. And that's really scary to think. It's almost like something is going on in the area to cause that to happen.
Like what? Explain. Sure did. Buy better cameras, guys.
Do you think the spirits here are going to cooperate with us on the investigation tonight?
I have no idea, but all of a sudden I got almost like kind of the lightheaded feeling. Right before you asked that. I mean, right before you asked that. Like,
okay,
I took a breath
and?
in and you're asking it, and that's when I felt it.
What exactly is your point here?
Oh, what happened?
Stopped recording. His camera stopped recording.
Get better equipment, guys.
No, seriously.
Holy cow.
What are the
That's
odds of
not
that?
paranormal.
I want to know when it cut off, though. Like, what part you were talking about. Wow.
Because when you asked me that question about that, I'm not kidding you, all of a sudden it's like took a breath and it was like a lightheaded.
Uh-huh, sure.
I am here with,
Michael Hanna.
he is the psychic medium that I brought here so he can do a sweep around the property. And we're just going to see if anything kind of corresponds to the stories that Alicia's been telling us,
Okay.
to what you've been picking up on.
All right, prepare to be amazed, because he's going to make some generalizations throughout his whole entire walkthrough. Because that's what psychic mediums do. They don't actually base it off of any actual fact. They base it off of feelings and things that they supposedly see that no one else does. How do I know this? Because I used to do this when I was younger. I used to do this stuff. I used to manipulate people this way. That's why I'm speaking out against it now. Let's continue.
So we were actually here last week as well. We only came for about an hour. Basically, we did have experiences here as well. So it would be really interesting to see if what happened to us last week kind of, corresponds to what you think's going on here as well. So
The terrible noise.
I didn't hear you. There was something making a noise.
Yeah, I wasn't pressing anything and all of a sudden it went...
Yeah, that's a little odd.
Something's trying to communicate
Yeah,
with her.
if you want to step outside,
Yeah.
we're outside by the car.
Here we go.
did she just go in the house?
Yeah, she went in the house.
There may be something trying to draw energy out of the radio that she has, which is causing that issue.
I wasn't even touching anything, nothing, and it was all of a sudden...
Really? That's the only thing that you can say about it? Or is it just the fact that your equipment is crap and it keeps malfunctioning every 5 minutes because it's sketchy equipment? You know, I don't know. I don't know, but do I think it's paranormal? No, I don't. Absolutely not.
It really loud.
Static sounding?
Yes,
Okay.
very much so.
Do you want to walk this way first, and then
Yeah,
or do you
yeah.
want to go
Yeah,
that way?
lead on. I have no idea where I'm going. So I'll
Okay.
just go as
You
I
guys
as I
go
go. I'll
first.
pick up and
Okay.
let you know what I'm feeling.
So, one of the first things was
This tree stump?
yes. When we came here last week, the first thing that I said to Alicia was, wow, what a beautiful tree. That's
know,
really
right?
cool. And you said the exact same
Yeah.
thing when you walked in.
Well, you're drawn to it. It's awesome.
It's a freaking dead tree in a person's front lawn, guys. Get flipping real. I don't get it. It's just a stinking dead tree. There's nothing behind it.
automatic.
Here's the thing though. Don't stand too close to the tree because when we were investigating last time, we were in the back. I actually ended up touching another tree that we're going to bring you to, and the second I touched that tree, we heard this really loud crashing noise. So a couple of minutes go by, and we walk by here, and I swear to God, this tree, this whole side, it had bark on it when we first got here.
Oh, the bark came off.
And I mean, it was a pile on the floor right
Interesting.
here.
Really?
It was a pile. Like if somebody was standing underneath that at the time, like
Yeah.
it could have seriously
Sure.
injured you.
I may be feeling this right now, but to be honest with you, there's multiple souls or energies in here. So
Of course there is, because, you know, he gets paid to say that.
it's kind of hard to pinpoint at this point because we just started.
Give me a
there
When
she
I
is.
was in the house, it did it again. I turned my phone on to record it, and it was doing that noise again. That I mean, really, really
Yeah.
loud in the kitchen.
And I'm not pressing any buttons either, so
Well, you've got your hands full,
There's
Jen.
something interfering with the electrical or the
Something.
flow of the energy of the battery.
Something.
What does that mean? Flow of the energy. I swear Lily and I are going to put a bingo game together with all these crazy terminologies and words that these people use, because, like, it, again, he's playing on emotions. That's all he's doing here. Really? Like, at this point, you really don't have any actual paranormal evidence for me to be like, oh yeah, that's definitive. Not even close. Not even close.
Wow, this place is amazing. Really goes back. Oh wow, what a beauty. Holy smokes. I think what I'm more curious about than anything else is the history of the place. Now, let me give you an
Right.
example of what I'm referring to. I don't know what you know and what you don't know, but
I didn't press anything.
Your walkie just went off.
if I was to ask you something from, let's say, the year 1940, would anybody know? If there was a person that played in this tree, let's say it was a young person that played in this tree that may have played around this tree and I'm picking up that energy, would anybody know about that person? Like if I asked the history?
Possibly.
I'm asking only because
Yeah.
I'm sensing a young person here, and I feel it's a female, not a male, but a young girl.
Yes.
But I just feel like this was an area that she played in.
Are you getting like a sense of
Well, gee, if that wasn't generic, I don't know what is. That, again, that's globdeglue. Okay? If you're a psychic medium, you should be able to tell us more information than just, well, I feel the energy of a child or something. Okay, well, you can literally go to pretty much any property and say that. I mean, really? Really? I'm actually starting to get infuriated with this.
what she may look like?
I'm guessing age because I'm not really sure about age, but I would say somewhere between 9 and 12. But I feel like, and then there's a female, another woman, but it might be her mom.
9 to 12, so that means what? Okay, so you're not a very good psychic medium if you can't stand there and actually definitively explain what this person looks like and the age of them. Because, you know, that's what psychic mediums do, right? They're always truthful to you.
Mom that basically was out in that area that kind of comes over and talks to her, and I guess she called her in. So I don't know if this was a farm type situation where she called her daughter in, but I'm not real familiar with this.
The first thing that came to my mind was the little girl that you saw. You said she looked very Little House on the Prairie style
Yeah,
as well.
it's that time period. It's
okay.
it's not current. This is something from a while ago, and that's why I asked you about 1940.
There has been a spirit seen here by Alicia. Actually, it was at the front of the house, and it was a young girl. And how old would you say that she would have been?
Between 9 and 12.
Of course, because he just said that. Again, not evidence, not anything tangible. I mean, you guys are seeing how this manipulation tactic works, because this is a clear manipulation tactic. They talk about something, and then this lady, the main investigator here, is basically doing the work for the psychic medium, and he's just like, oh yeah, I totally agree. This is what I'm seeing. It's a manipulation tactic. That's all it is.
There you go. There you have
between
it.
9 and 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Little House on the
Yeah,
Prairie type
that's
of.
what I'm picking up.
This
course.
could essentially be a place where she comes back because she has good memories here,
That's what
and she likes to play around
Right.
this area.
That's what I'm picking up.
That's better known as residual energy, which I call BS. I would never be convinced with residual energy. That's just not something to me is even credible, and again, like it's globbity-gloop, like it's not anything tangible here.
I think it could possibly be more than the little girl.
Oh,
It's, I mean, the
like I said,
negative-
I feel multiple spirits or energies here, and I'm not sure exactly what.
Which is it? Is it energies or is it spirits? Which issues? Yeah, they don't mean the same thing, guy. They don't mean the same thing. Words matter, definitions matter. So if you're going to say that you feel something or see something, you need to be very much more specific for the viewers to actually understand where you're coming from. Otherwise, these two definitions of spirit and energy is not the same thing. They don't mean the same thing by definition or understanding or any aspect of logic. They are two separate things, so quit saying it. You won't, but I urge you to quit saying it.
Why, but I pinpointed the little girl first because she's my first target, so to speak, and she's the one who made herself known to me first. She's connected with the fire in some way too. I don't know what that's all about either.
And they looked like Little House on the Prairie. The little girl had dark hair and with two braids, one on either side, and it's something, I don't know why, but I thought fire. Maybe if they died in a fire, I don't know.
Is there a fire
But
issue?
I don't
as
know,
well?
but I got the same thing when I
That's
saw her.
literally what
Okay.
she said.
Oh, wow. We're actually getting something. I'm still not impressed, guys. Still not impressed.
It's
What I
Okay,
said.
because
And
there's a
that's
fire
so-
connected with her, and I don't know how, but that's what she's showing me.
I literally just got the chills because
did I.
the second you said that, it clicked.
And so, like, I see her, and then I see a fire, and I don't know why. And the story will come through hopefully as we go. But at this point, right now,
Yeah.
this is what I'm picking up so far. Because I feel like there's multiple spirits there. That was something very negative in that tree. And please don't say anything yet. But there's something very negative in that particular tree. That
Yeah.
more than one soul in that one tree, meaning they hanging or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? So
Exactly what you.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? You
no,
yes.
yeah, because I'm seeing like what what I call people fruit, and that's where they're hanging.
Really? People fruit. Really? That's just sick. This guy is sick in the head. If that's his definition, that's awful. That's beyond awful.
Those spirits dispersed into the property, so now you've got them kind of scattered all over.
Hanging tree. It's called. It is
Oh.
the hanging tree.
It's called the hanging tree.
Never mind.
Everybody knows. There's
Okay.
the limb that he cut had rope marks on it.
Okay.
We can tell that there's so many spirits here. Alicia feels
Oh
it
yeah,
too.
there's quite a few.
And so what you were saying right there, it could be a huge puzzle piece to what we've been looking for, That makes so much more sense
Absolutely.
now.
Because I know he's feeling it physically.
Yeah.
I can sense it from him. So I don't.
See,
I don't know if
that's-
you're still feeling
I
it, but
do.
I sense that you're feeling
No, I feel,
some
I
of
feel,
it.
I feel nauseated.
Yeah.
And I got a headache.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's again not paranormal. There's a lot of people that get headaches and stomach aches. In fact, myself and Lydia almost daily go through that very thing. But I have a medical condition called FND, which actually causes me to have, muscle spasms, shakiness, and the list goes on. But one of the things that can happen, that generally happens more often than I'd like to, is actually something that is called seizures, but they're non-epileptic seizures. So after I have one of those seizures, generally speaking, my head hurts pretty bad, and I also get nauseated. So again, how is that paranormal? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Good.
Okay.
I'm ready to rock.
Are you
Sorry,
sure?
Jim.
I don't know, Jim. If it gets any worse, you may not want to come back here.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah. I don't want to push it
Go
too
this
much.
way
Is
if
he
you
okay?
want. Or
Yeah, he does get affected quite easily.
No. So I feel like the horse.
What
I
was
looking
that?
into- Was that a,
16.
Did your walkie just randomly talk to you again?
Yep.
So this is the front porch. This is one of the areas where I feel that there could be spirit activity because on the steps.
yeah, I'm getting a real bad feeling in my stomach. When I get that, it usually means it's a really strong energy. I don't usually.
For the love of Mike, will you just call it what it is? Please? Just once?
Get that all the time, but this is one right now where she's sitting there. The little girl.
The little
or
girl.
a little girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this is the exact area where Alicia saw the little girl.
Okay.
Was right outside the door, right there, and
so
and there was a
she's
little
sitting
boy
here
as well. Yeah.
I don't. When I'm looking at her now, she's changed. Her demeanor's changed. It went from being like playful and having a good time to the eyes turning dark. So
Cue the gasp and the nonsense. I mean, really. I'll be honest with you. Most spirits that show up as children, they're not that in reality. I've had it happen to me. I've listened to so many different cases to where this is the case. I'll be honest, guys. Like, sadly, this doesn't really surprise me much.
I don't know what
okay,
that's about.
Okay.
The eyes turned very dark for me, and I didn't understand that. Because she looked up at me at first, she reached out her hand, and all of a sudden her eyes or her face turned very dark, and I didn't get
Oh, I
So-
have full chills as well, Alicia.
it.
Oh my God.
But that's what I picked up. I don't understand that or what that means, but that's what I picked
I
up.
was talking to Alicia last night, and what did you tell me last night?
Yeah, Jeff's eyes back in the back there. I've seen his eyes go black,
So
Yeah.
you've seen.
and he has green eyes,
Okay.
light green eyes. And
Yeah.
there's 2 times when I've seen them, and I mean, all of a sudden black, and I mean,
I wish
Yeah,
I
we
knew about
got
this
it,
little
black.
girl because
We
I
got
feel
it.
like there was something very wrong done to her. Okay, almost like I'm like I told you about the fire. Now I'm feeling water. So the water is my drowning thing and my thing where she's choking or she's having a hard time breathing and she drowned, like her lungs filled, or she actually has been drowned. But I do feel that's why the face turned very dark, and I don't.
This guy is so full of crap, it's not even funny. Like, he's just making up this story as he goes, guys. Like, I can't, I just can't. I can't.
I don't know why.
Okay.
So
Oh, you're shaking your head. What are you thinking?
no, it's like I can feel her. It's a horrible feeling.
yeah,
One thing that is interesting, because you did point out that she was sitting on the step right there.
right there in the end.
Now, I'll tell you what, and this is weird, Jim, because when we were here last week, that's actually, he set his camera up right there on that top step, and that was when your battery drained, and you put in like 4 different batteries, and they were just draining, literally draining after the
Not
next battery
terrible.
This is her
draining.
death
Normal.
spot. If you want to put something there, I guarantee you she'll talk to you. I really do. She's showing me a candle, and I don't know what that means, but I think this has something to do with the fire. She may have
Of
created
course
that
it
fire
does.
or caused it, because she burned her hair. I'm picking up all kinds of little vignettes, and what I'm picking up is her showing me the candle, and then her hair getting burned, and then her sitting, you know what I mean? So I'm getting different pieces of her life.
No, you're just really bad at making a believable story, guy. Like, that's all you're doing.
She's showing me pieces of her.
That's all you're doing is you're setting this up for people to try to believe your story. There's no possible way that you're actually getting all of this information because, again, I can tell that, 1, based off of your demeanor, 2, based off the content, and 3, you're literally just trying to keep this this narrative going. And the owner of the building and the 2 investigators are literally fueling it. That's what's happening. They're just making a narrative that's, well, to me it might be consistent, but it's consistently just not, to me it's not believable. You know, I don't trust psychic mediums anyways, but, you know.
At least they're being consistent within their inconsistent worldview.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if you guys heard that or not from Lydia, but Anyways, let's try to get back to this. We're about halfway through, so I'm gonna try to make it to the end, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to right now.
Her life, and that's what I'm picking up. Her story.
Yeah.
I do
Her
think she's an
story? No, it's
E-name, like
your
an Emily
story
or
that
an
you're
Amelia,
manipulating.
but I do think it's one of those old-fashioned names.
Okay, so just like a little recap of what's just happened. Michael the medium came over and he had a lot to say, and he really did hit the nail on the head
No, he didn't.
with a lot
Not
of
really.
things. One thing that I really think that we should focus on right now is the little girl, the little
He made generalizations that you just happen to agree with. You know, I could have went on that property and be like, oh, yeah, so there was a little girl and this and that. Like, I could do the same thing, guys. This doesn't mean that this is actually reality in any aspect of that.
little girl spirit that Alicia's seen and he's picked up on as well. I'm going to set up the static candles because we set up the REM pods before and, you know, there was nothing really interfering with the electromagnetic field, so maybe the spirit will actually start interfering with the static field.
Actually, it does the same thing. Those candles are literally another EMF reader. That's it. That's all they do. They either light up or go out when there's some type of electromagnetic field around it. It doesn't actually do what she's saying it does. So, again, this is why I don't really trust any aspect of devices when you're trying to investigate a place. But here we are.
Because we know that she likes to play with walkie-talkies. So, who knows?
You're making
And,
an assumption there.
Gonna put on the Ovilus too.
Yeah. We're going to stick on the Ovilus and see if any names pop up. If we have a name, we might even get more answers. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah, so you can beat it over our heads.
Oh, there you go.
Can you give us a name? If there's a little girl.
By the way, that's not an actual obelisk. That is a cell phone with a obelisk app on it. Not the same thing. Just to be clear. I don't like these cell phone apps. They're not consistent. They're not worth their time. Just stay away from them.
Girl here, can you please tell us what your name is? You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be scared of us. We're here to work with you, not against you. And we just wanted to figure out your story a little bit more.
Details.
Yes, we want to know the details of your story because that is one thing that we're missing here. We know that you're around here, but we don't necessarily know why or if you're at peace or if you're happy. So
That
can you
doesn't
tell us
matter
some
if
of the
you're- if
details
you're-
of your story?
Look, if you've died, okay, this is how I know that they're just trying to sell you on a story, because if they were actually going to actually do this, okay, when a person dies, they go to one of two places. They either go to the full wrath and judgment of God in hell, or if they believe in Christ, they're going to heaven. I do not believe that there is a midway. And so, with that being said, is this possible that this is actually demonic in nature? Well, yeah, it could be. I don't believe that they're talking to a small child right now. I just don't. And the fact that it's a cell phone, an app on a cell phone, that's just more fuel for the fire for me. So, I digress.
And whilst we're doing this, if anything comes to mind, you just let us know.
Did you do this before?
Static! Static! It said static!
Oh my
Literally,
gosh,
like, what
it
was I
said a
just
word
saying?
that's at
This
random.
spirit doesn't communicate through electromagnetic energy. It
Yes, it
connects through static.
Static.
What do you call
Yes.
your cell phone?
This is probably a good time to set up the static static candles I have right here as well.
And this is another manipulation tactic. So if they pick up a what's called an an EVP, electro voice phenomenon, okay? Even if that actually isn't what it said, and it was just a globbity, static type thing on a receiver, when they flash it across the screen, what actually generally happens is that your subconscious mind actually starts to tell you that that's actually what it's saying, based off of what you're seeing when they post it on the screen. So again, another manipulation tactic that I've seen so many times before. Take that how you want it, guys.
But then they will turn on
Fear.
fear.
I knew you were afraid. You don't have anything to be afraid of.
Just no. I got nothing to say.
The candles won't burn you. All you have to do is touch one of them, and it turns it off. It's kind of a little game. You want to try it?
Did you guys hear that? Did anybody hear that?
Mm-hmm.
To the right, it was like a booming like boom boom.
All right, I want to explain something once again, and this is something related to technology and different devices and stuff like that. If you have a microphone, okay, generally speaking, most microphones are what is known as a directional microphone. There's a couple of different styles of microphones. This type of microphone that you see on the screen, this is what's known as a condenser microphone. This is best used for voices and so on and so forth. Now, generally what they're using is actually a certain mic style called a shotgun mic. So, in other words, what that means is it's not omnidirectional. You know, think of it like a Shure SM57 or 58, right? If you don't know what that is, you know, it's just a regular dynamic microphone. Which those microphones are omnidirectional, which means both sides of the microphone are actually, you know, sound can come in. Basically, a shotgun microphone is what's called it's basically just one direction, right? So it's not a omnidirectional, it's just a directional as in one way. Now, all the way around that microphone, yeah, sound can pick up, but here's the problem, okay? If that microphone is not actually put in the general area of wherever they're saying that noise comes from, nobody's going to hear it except for them. And of course, that's how you can create a narrative. So what they're doing is they're trying to create a narrative of something that they possibly heard, but it's not going to pick up on the microphone for those reasons, that it's a directional microphone, and the only way that sound is going to be picked up from it is if that directional microphone is faced the direction that it's actually supposed to be in. You guys follow me? Okay. So, in saying that, no, we can't actually hear what's actually going on through the microphone because you just don't have it in a position to be able to do so. Don't know why so many people actually say that type of stuff, but you know, it is what it is.
Do you have a rock in your hand? Do you have a little stone in your hand?
I didn't hear you.
Lets us know you're there. Thank you.
Wow.
Can you touch it again and let us know you're there? That was really nice of you to do that.
The way that lit up was quite unusual.
Like a burst?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Okay.
yeah. We were
You
hoping
had
you would,
three
it's like
devices.
we were hoping you would do that. I
Are
know
you
I can see
kidding
it.
me, right?
No,
You have-
it's
you have
the
literally
way
five
that this
devices
one is
around.
lighting up. I feel like there's someone.
Are you guys flipping kidding me? Each one of those devices are going to go off because they're all going to set out a frequency. Again, these things are sending and receiving frequencies. That's not paranormal. That's them trying to actually basically convince you that there's something there. You have a psychic medium who is basically making up the story as it goes and creating a narrative. You have the paranormal investigators that are trying to continue the narrative by putting all these devices in the same manner, knowing very well, or at least they should know this by now, that each one of those devices being in that close proximity is going to cause it to go off. This is a setup. This is an absolute setup for people to actually try to believe them. Again, like, it's dumb. It's absolutely dumb.
Your spot. I know. Do you want me to leave? I'll leave. I'm gonna get up now.
Oh, jeez. This is what I
So
think it is.
basically, right now, what we're going to do is we're going to do an Estes method.
Yeah, my absolute favorite, because you know you can't create a narrative from this at all.
Right underneath this tree here. This is the tree where the bark fell earlier. Well, last week anyway. Hopefully nothing falls on my head during the Estes methods. I think that we've already established that the spirit here likes to communicate through static electricity. That's why I think that the spirit box is a really good option right now. So let's get to it.
I absolutely hate this experiment because, one, they can literally make up anything. They literally can make up absolutely anything that they want to in this particular experiment.
Hello.
Hi. Do you have a message for us?
Did something just hit my nose?
Not that we're
Like a
aware
bug
of.
or anything like that?
No, I didn't see anything.
Holy shit, I literally just felt like something just
Touched
like
you?
pinched my nose.
Yeah.
Oh, that freaked me out. I thought that there was a bug on my nose. No, something legitimately just touched my nose. Okay, sorry. I just heard fuck you.
Mm-hmm. Not a way to talk to a lady.
Do you know what our names are?
Mike.
That's me.
Oh, they're doing an Estes method because that's totally efficient.
I see you. Oh, and then I heard like a little girl giggle.
Again, manipulation tactic, trying to create a narrative.
My name
Here
is
we are
Jim.
trying to create another narrative.
I don't care.
What do you care about?
This place?
Why? Why do you care about this place?
Don't want to talk?
You don't want to talk.
Yet you're talking.
Do you want us to leave?
Go.
Wow. Do you have a message for us?
Hang 'em.
Hang on.
This is just me talking, but I started feeling really sick.
Of course you do. Do you want to pull the mask off?
And then I just heard a male say, yeah, you did. You heard me?
Yes, we heard you. I'm tasting blood. I can't breathe. Are you angry?
Why are you so upset?
All right, guys. I don't think I can do any more of this today. They basically just keep trying to sell you on a narrative here. After the failed attempts of videos all day, I'm just to the point where I'm getting so frustrated that I really can't finish this video. There really isn't that much left in it, to be honest. But they don't make any conclusive evidence because I can't trust an Estes method to save my life. Because how do we know that they're actually hearing that? This is straight up can be turned into a false narrative. I think that that's at this point what they're doing. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this.